Hey there, I'm the MadCatster. Am I glad to see you here? Well, it's official. Lizzo is canceled. Many of you have probably heard the controversy and the lawsuit swirling around Lizzo as salacious allegations have come out. Well, I took a look at the lawsuit and there's even more to it than what you've probably heard. I've got the deets and all the receipts, so buckle up and let's go. I'm here with Sybil the Enforcer, and Sybil says, please like and subscribe. We're almost to 20,000. We'd like your help to get there. And I also want to give a special thank you to someone who I believe is from the UK, who chose to be anonymous, who bought me 3 coffees at the Buy Me a Coffee website. And I want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I don't have anyone to thank for the Amazon wish list today, but if you're interested, the link for the cats is down below. Anyways, let's talk about Lizzo. I'm sure by now you've heard something of the allegations being made by some former employees and former dancers about some salacious and some tyrannical behavior that's been alleged and attributed to Lizzo. And it spawned a lawsuit in Los Angeles in the Superior Court. So I took a deeper look at the lawsuit just to see what the complete document said. And I found a few things in there that I hadn't heard being mentioned with the general synopsis of what's been going on. One thing I thought was retaliatory and another one that was a little bordering on potential violent side. So Lizzo has made a name for herself in the music industry, and one of the things that she takes pride in is the fact that she's plus size body. She's not your Beyonce's or your Cardi B's, and she takes pride in bringing the message that it's okay to be who you are to her fans. So it was a little shocking when suddenly these allegations surfaced when a lawsuit was filed against Lizzo and her production company by some of her former dancers and employees. And some of the allegations just took people by surprise because they kind of are contradictory to Lizzo's image, and Lizzo came out and addressed the allegations. But again, this is another instance in it's not what you say, but what you don't say sometimes that's most important. And this is what she had to say, and I'll tell you what I mean in a second. She said, I'm not the villain that people in the media have portrayed me to be these last few days. I'm very open with my sexuality and expressing myself, but I cannot accept or allow people to use that openness to make me out to be something I am not. I know what it feels like to be body shamed on a daily basis and would absolutely never criticize or terminate an employee because of their weight. Obviously, she's denying the allegations. I mean, I don't think anyone expected her to come out and say, oh yes, I'm that horrible person. And we don't know that the allegations are all true. I mean, there's more than one person making them, which usually tends to indicate there's some credibility to what they're saying, unless this is completely a hit job on Lizzo to defame her. I read through all the allegations and I mean, they sound plausible to me. So even though some of the things are hypocritical and contrary to the image Lizzo portrays, I think that there may be some truth to them, but we won't know until obviously there has to be a trial where evidence is presented. Even though these are right now just allegations, I have heard some people on YouTube who've said some pretty horrible things about Lizzo, and I'm not going to mention the video or the YouTuber who put it out, but I watched a video today where the person was really coming down hard on Lizzo, and it was almost like Lizzo bashing is what it was. And granted, if these things are true, it makes her out to not be a very nice person, but I think that jumping the gun and just annihilating her character like the stuff I saw and heard today, that's a little too far. You know, you've got to kind of reserve your judgment until you hear all the facts. So the allegations included coercive tactics such as being pressured to touch dancers during, and I've of course redacted some of the key words here, during a live show in Amsterdam's red light district, and I've been there and it's pretty sleazy. Robbing dancers of the choice not to participate in outings to certain cabaret bars. Davis, who's I believe she's a dancer, additionally stated she felt fat shamed after Lizzo and choreographer Tanisha Scott called attention to her weight gain, which they perceived as her not being committed enough to her role as a dancer on tour, which again, Lizzo, who preaches body positivity, hey, Sybil and Squirt are having a little tiff here, having a little row, as the Brits would say. Lizzo puts herself forward as an example of body positivity and as a role model. And so it's a little shocking to hear that she would body shame a dancer. And again, we don't know if it's actually true, but there has been some corroboration, so I don't know. So what I found interesting about Lizzo's statement was she kind of brushed over the inappropriate allegations about the club activities that I'm sure you've heard more about. I'm not going to go into depth here on them. You know, she mentions her, you know, being open about her sexuality, and that's kind of the only thing she says. So I kind of, in my opinion, took that to mean maybe she's not denying that these activities took place. It's really surprising because the activities that were alleged would make even the most seasoned human resources professional lose their stuff and go red in the face. So it sounds to me like she's glossing those allegations over, and she's only really addressing the body shaming. And also, one of the dancers accused the dance captain of Lizzo's Amazon reality show Watch Out for the Big Girls in 2021 of pushing her Christian beliefs onto dancers. After discovering that Davis was a V-word, Quigley routinely discussed the subject, brought it up in interviews, and even posted about it on social media. Quigley allegedly referred to Davis as a non-believer, according to the suit. "No job and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord," she's quoted as saying. I mean, that's problematic because it's not really appropriate in the workplace to be talking about it, but also to talk about somebody's status like that in public and in interviews, if this is all true, I mean, that right there is pretty shocking as well. And so after Lizzo made her statement, one of the plaintiffs, Davis, again, she came back and said, "Was I pressured to touch a performer? Yes. Was I brought into a private meeting where I was kind of interrogated about my personal matters and ended up having to share very personal things about myself regarding my weight? Yes. Were we pressured to do an excruciatingly long rehearsal that turned into a re-audition for the job that we already booked because apparently we weren't doing good enough? Yes, that is true." So basically one of the plaintiffs come back saying that despite Lizzo's denials, these things are true. Like I said, I went and looked at the lawsuit because I wanted to see exactly what it said. So here's the lawsuit, and there are 3 plaintiffs named: Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noelle Rodriguez, and it's against Big Girl, Big Touring Inc., and Lizzo, whose real name is Melissa Jefferson, and also against this Shirlene Quigley, the one who was supposedly talking about one of the dancers' status as a V. And the allegations, the categories that they've got here is hostile work environment, failure to prevent and or remedy hostile work environment, religious harassment, failure to prevent and or remedy religious harassment, racial harassment, disability discrimination, intentional interference with prospective economics, assault, and false imprisonment. False imprisonment, that one's interesting. There are 3 paragraphs that I thought were interesting, and here's the first one. It says, "On or about April 21st, 2023, Lizzo called another meeting with the dance cast to reiterate that none of their jobs were safe. And so Ms. Williams raised her hand and asked to speak. Ms. Williams went on to rebut Lizzo's accusation of drinking on the job, stating that the dancers had never drunk alcohol prior to shows. And then she says that Lizzo mockingly responded, 'Well, if you're not, then good for y'all,' then stated that maybe the accusations of drinking before shows were on account of the dancers' poor performance," which I took to mean that it was like an excuse for why they were dancing poorly. They were alleging that alcohol was the cause rather than their bad dancing. So this person, you know, stands up to Lizzo, and then this is what she alleged happened. On or about April 26, 2023, Ms. Williams was terminated in the lobby of the hotel the dancer was staying at under the guise of budget cuts. Ms. Williams was the only dancer to get fired on this day. Stunned, Ms. Williams asked to speak to Lizzo, and she was told that Lizzo isn't the best with these things and she has a lot going on. But Ms. Williams persisted, and so when Ms. Williams continued to press to talk to Lizzo, the employee finally said to Ms. Williams that Ms. Williams does not have the best attitude at time and comes across as snarky, meaning that I guess it wasn't really budget cuts, but her attitude that was the cause. So right there, that strikes me as retaliation because she spoke up and tried to defend the dancers against these allegations of drinking on the job, and the result was she got fired. Concerning the controversy with Miss Davis, who we talked about a couple of minutes ago, one of the other plaintiffs came forward to her defense and went to talk to Lizzo, and she says here she asked if she could have a word with Lizzo, and Ms. Rodriguez explained that she did not appreciate how Lizzo had handled the situation with Miss Davis, and that Ms. Rodriguez felt disrespected and therefore would resign. This resignation drew both Miss Quigley's and Lizzo's ire. And then this is the part that I found Shocking. Then Lizzo aggressively approached Ms. Rodriguez, cracking her knuckles, balling her fists and exclaiming, "You're lucky. You're so effing lucky." Ms. Rodriguez feared that Lizzo intended to hit her and believed that she would have done so if one of the other dancers had not intervened. Neither security nor management did anything to de-escalate the situation. As Lizzo left the room, she raised both her middle fingers and yelled, "Bye, bitch." These allegations do not paint a very pretty picture of Lizzo behind the scenes, so to speak, and makes her out to be kind of a bully and a tyrant. And you could argue on the one hand that, well, she's got to be tough on her dancers because she expects perfection and people expect a good show. But I think coupled with the salacious and inappropriate allegations of the conduct at some of these clubs, it paints an overall picture of not a great work environment, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with this lawsuit. Things like this, they tend to end up settling out of court, and I would not be surprised if that's where this one goes. We'll have to wait and see if anybody else file a separate suit or if more people come out talk about Lizzo to corroborate what's been said. And I'll be interested to see how it develops. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think that this is true? Do you think they're just trying to smear her? Do you think there's enough allegations from various people to give some credibility to what's being said? I'd be interested to hear that. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. Please like and subscribe and let me know if there's another situation you would like me to cover or another topic you would like covered. I've had some people come and ask about various different topics. Please, make suggestions. I'd love to hear it. I hope you guys are having a good August. I can't believe we're already into August. Labor Day is coming already, and it just seems like the years go by faster and faster. And those of you who are younger than me, get prepared because they start to go faster and faster and faster. But I hope you guys, in the interim, before the next video, take care of yourselves, love one another, and I will see you in the next one.
Pretty please. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell. I get a treat for every new sub. Thank you.